Well, good evening, everybody. Blair Nightingale here with Tradeway. It's time for Market Monday. Market Monday, getting to dive into the markets, you and I here together to help you learn something you need to know to help you trade in the stock market. That's what we do here on Market Monday. Last week, had a very special guest, got to have Dr. Jim on with us from Tastyworks. Very much enjoyed speaking to him. He's next level. If you didn't see that interview from last week, I highly encourage you to go back and watch it because he is a professional. Dr. Jim has been doing this a long time. One of the things we like to say around here on Tradeway is that we help people who know absolutely nothing, no financial background, not an economics degree, business degree, all that kind of stuff. You actually don't need that. Interestingly enough, though, if you have that and you learn the skill set of trading, right, it can be a tremendous advantage. Well, somebody like Dr. Jim brought that to us last week. The reason I bring that up, number one, it was a fantastic time. I hope you get to see it. It is there on the YouTube page if you have missed it. You can always go back and watch those. But also, he's a professional. And today, we're looking at two of the biggest differences. Now, there are more than two, but two of the biggest differences that you and I don't need a degree to fix, right? The first step to fixing these differences between a professional and an amateur, right? We don't want to trade like amateurs. We want to do what the professionals are doing. The good thing is that these are actually pretty easy to fix. And the first step to doing that, of course, is knowing what they are. So that is what we're going to go over today. Two main differences between amateurs and professionals. Why would we even care? Some of us say, it's not exactly my aspiration to be a professional trader. Where you've got that picture of the guy with the suit and he's got 6 screens in front of him. When I say professional, let me define that quickly. When I say professional, I simply mean you and I are doing what the professionals do so that we can get closer to what they are getting, right? You are in trading, whether you're just curious or you're actively trading, myself, because you want to make money, right? You want to make money at trading, and you've either seen or you've heard that you can do that in trading. That is the potential of stock trading. Of course, that's what we talk about here on Market Monday. So when I say professional, what I mean is you are moving forward, doing the things that they do to get you closer to your goal. I want to see this impact your life, impact your family, impact your finances. And that is what we're going to go over today. As always, of course, though, if you're joining today, go ahead, drop a comment in the comment box. Let me know who you are, where you're from. Let me know that you're here, you're joining. I know around Tradeway today, very busy day, we have our summer boot camp going on. So we've got a bunch of students joining us for sessions all day long, all through the week. We're literally doing a trading boot camp right now, teaching folks how to do it. So a lot of folks have been over on that as well. But we're going to dive into this here tonight. So it's not over yet. Two biggest differences between amateur and pro traders. And remember, I'm going to say this again. We're not necessarily saying professional in the sense that you have to be licensed and do all this stuff. No, this is just about you reaching your goals. You have to start with belief, though, right? You have to start with a knowing that it is actually possible. There are people who are trading in the stock market just looking at your phone or the laptop you may be on tonight. That's all they're using, right? At home business. You've heard me talk about this in weeks past if you've been with us before. This is a huge lesson, this difference, okay? Huge lesson, because the path towards our goals in trading is a little bit of a secret here. You're going to get that tonight. There's a little bit of a secret. It's not quite the path that is most natural, right? It's not the path that most new investors, traders think it is, okay? There are a few very clear lines that divide the successful from the unsuccessful. And that's probably a more helpful separation tonight than amateur versus professional. We're talking about successful versus unsuccessful, okay? And I'm going to stop for a second and just state the obvious, because if we're talking about the two biggest differences, okay, the first thing I'll say, and this is a huge difference, but I'm going to just say this and get it out of the way so we can dive into two more specific differences, okay? So the first thing I'll say is they use a system, right? The successful use a system. Every trader who is consistent, right? Consistent. Anybody can make money on one trade, two trades, even a string of trades, and really have no idea why it worked, and thus not able to reproduce that over time. See, that's what we want to teach you to do. How can we keep using this over time, right? We don't want to just get lucky a few times, because it's not gambling. It's never guessing, gambling, or going for it. So every pro, every successful, every consistently profitable trader has a system, right? Has a system. Now, this has become around Tradeway such an obvious statement. And even here on Market Monday, this is what we talk about from week to week, is a system. It's a system that helps you clearly define what stocks to trade, right? What stocks to trade. There's many stocks. When should I trade them? And why would I trade that one at that time, right? Why? What, when, and why? That's all in your system. Without a system, we don't have that. A system is absolutely essential for trading stocks. Otherwise, it's actually just not trading, right? It might be just guessing, gambling, going for it, or anything between those, right? It's not actually trading at that point. It's really basically just gambling in the markets. And it's not the same thing. For those of us who wonder, isn't trading basically gambling, right? This is how we know the two are distinct. They're not the same. Trading is not gambling in the stock market, okay? So for those of us who've maybe been wondering, yeah, I really would love to learn to trade, but I don't want to gamble. I'm not into that, right? I have a conviction against that. I don't gamble. Then this is going to release you from that, because it actually is not gambling. Now, we can gamble in the stock market. We could, but that's not trading. And the system is the difference. So that is the first thing I want to say. Now, that's not the two differences I'm going to go over, but that's so important, so foundational. I'm going to say a system has to be in place. And of course, that is what we teach here. So that is the first thing to get out of the way. Now, number one, two biggest differences between an amateur and a pro trader, or successful, unsuccessful, or profitable, not profitable, but consistent versus inconsistent. Okay, here it is. There's process, and then there's profit. Process, and then there's profit. Two different things. I'll explain what I mean. So I say it like this. You can go out in the market and you can find price action, or you can find price edge, okay? Price action, price edge. In other words, are we finding a stock that's moving? It's just moving. Maybe it's going up, right? We would want to find a stock that's going up. It's going up, and that's getting us excited, and we like the company. And so we're thinking, I'm going to put some money into that. That's price action. But that is not necessarily price edge, okay? Is it that, or is it a really great opportunity for us to risk our money? How would we know the difference? The system. The system is giving us clearly defined rules and parameters of what to do with what stocks and when. And it clearly defines a process that you and I go through for every trade, which is actually really cool. When you think about it, we like to call it like a pre-flight checklist, right? When you get in to the cockpit and you're going over absolutely everything, no matter how many flights these pilots have taken, they always go through the same checklist, right? It's not like, I've been flying for 20 years. I don't need that checklist anymore. They don't do that. They go through the checklist. And aren't you and I glad that they do if you're traveling? Because we know they're checking the boxes, right? Because it's a risk. It's a risk. And this limits the risk. So these traders understand what the process is. They understand what the process is and they follow it. That's such a huge lesson, because risking money in the stock market, having a brokerage account, having charting software, that doesn't make us a trader, right? That gives us access to the markets, gives us access to the ability to trade. But traders understand the process for every single trade that they do, okay? And it gets them out of chasing price action, which is everywhere in the market. Every day, the prices are moving, right? And it can be very exciting. And it gets them into price edge. They learn to see it. We're doing that today in our boot camp, okay? Is there a way, put it this way, is there a way to see if the chances of a stock going up are better in one stock versus another? Maybe you're looking at ABC stock and you're looking at XYZ stock. Okay. Is there a way to tell which one's actually better? Now, we don't have a crystal ball, right? We don't know the future, but is there a way to tell which one has an advantage? Not a guarantee, but an advantage. That's what the system does. That's what the process does. And they understand that. That's what makes the whole thing work. They understand there's a good set of rules to help me identify which is a better opportunity and what do I do now that I've found that opportunity, right? It helps keep their money in check. It helps keep them in check. It's all part of the process, okay? But they don't chase the profit first, okay? They don't chase the profit first. And what's so interesting about that is that usually that's where we get tripped up, okay? That's where we get tripped up. So first thing, we need to learn what the process is of finding good opportunities and managing ourselves. How do we do that? A system. Okay, but as I mentioned, and here's number 2, okay? Here's number 2. Professionals or the consistent, right? I'll keep saying both, right? Successful from unsuccessful. Number 2, they are great at taking risk, but risk is actually their primary focus, right? They can accept risk. They can embrace risk, whereas a lot of others avoid it and they miss opportunity, right? Risk management is good in life, period. It's good. But if we never take any risks, right, then there's no returns. We can miss a lot of genuine opportunities when we don't take any risks, right? Some of us are more risk averse than others, some less so. So we've got to ask really the Holy Spirit to know, well, where do I take risk and not? Where are you inviting me into risk, right? Traders think about the risk and they know how to manage it. And I'm going to go through some of those pieces right now. Notice though, and I mentioned this a moment ago, their main concern is not profit. At least not directly. Okay? Now that's a little bit weird for us, because why would any of us start to trade? Why would we even want to trade? Right? Why would we want to trade? We would want to trade because we want to make profit. Right? We want to be consistently profitable. So it's a little bit backwards, which is what I mentioned at the open. You know, the path forward in trading is not necessarily as natural as we might think. So I'll use the word amateur again. New people, amateurs coming in to the market, what they tend to gravitate towards is, I want to make money. And their emotions kick in and they chase price action, not price edge, to make money. Okay, and there's all kinds of ways that that can show up. Professionals, the consistent, they go, yes, I want to make money. I'm here for the exact same reason as everybody else. I want to make money, maybe lots, right? And the markets can do that, right? Millions are made in the market. Millions are lost in the market. What's the difference? Well, this is a big one. Okay, this is a big one. Managing risk is still their first concern because professionals, the consistent, they understand that if I manage my risk well in the market, that is the best way for me to move into profitability. Now, what happens with most new traders is they flip that completely. They get it completely backwards, and it feels like the most natural state. They chase the profits all over the place. And what ends up happening, and it's such a strange thing, is that ends up being the very thing that is most problematic, the very thing that actually keeps them from being profitable, because a professional manages the risk first. Many times we get into a trade, and what do we think about more? How much could I make here? And if the idea in my mind of what I could make is big enough, then I will take massive amounts of risk. Because I'm not focused on what I don't want to happen. I'm focused on the profit. Now, this is assuming that you're even going to trade, right? I know a lot of us are not even at a place where we would trade yet because we're afraid we're going to lose it all. And I'm speaking to you too, because professionals are able to be confident in the market because they understand how to manage the risk. So they don't take too much and they don't take too little. They take no risk, they can't make anything. They take too much, then there's too much exposure, and we can't last in the markets if we do that. So chasing profit is not how they operate. They manage risk, which of course means they need to have a way to define risk. Okay? They want to make money just like anybody else. They just don't want to chase money. They want to define risk and let finances, profits happen as a result of that. They understand, okay, back to the system, a system that helps them define risk. It helps them define the risk. For us here at Tradeway, every single trade we do, when we talk to students, they know before they even get into the trade, the maximum amount that they're going to risk on that trade, right? They are going to exit the trade if it's not working long before all the money in that trade is gone. And they know when to do it and they know how to do it. That's just a skill. That's actually the easy part. We can teach you how to do that. What's the skill, right? That's what we need to know. That's what we need to know. So they always define the risk. If it's too much, they won't even get in the trade. Now, that's not how a new person would typically think. They would think, well, I could make a lot of money here. Let's go for it. Remember, I said it's never guessing, gambling, or going for it. But the emotional draw of profit, if that's what I'm focused on, can be very strong. And I know this is something Wall Street kind of counts on, by the way, that amateurs will come into the market and not have a system and not manage risk. They'll just chase the money around, right? And that is how it remains elusive, right? It gets away from us. Managing risk keeps us in the game over time, okay? So number 2 on this, right? They're good at managing risk. Some sub points here. Professionals know how to use a stop loss, which is what I just mentioned. A stop out, it can be called at times, or a stop loss. Okay, stop out, stop loss. What does it do? Stops the loss. This is a tool. It's very easy to use, and it's automatic. If we set it in our brokerage account, if the stock falls a certain amount, we say how much, the broker kicks us out of the trade. So I'm in the stock at $10 a share, and I say, okay, when this falls down from $10 to $9.20, okay, or $8.75, right? I get to choose. Then that means it's not working. Now, I don't want to put it at $8.99 and buy it I don't want to put it at $9.99 and buy it 10. right? 1 penny down, I'm out of the trade. Well, that's not enough risk, right? But I can put a stop loss in, and we'll show you where to put the stop loss and how to put the stop loss so that if the stock moves against us, which happens, right? It happens. We know how much we're going to lose, right? And we can decide whether or not that trade is good for us, knowing essentially what the risk of the trade is going to be. That's huge, and it's basic, and it's easy to do. We just got to show you some stuff, right? You just got to learn some stuff, and then we show you how to do it, and there you go. You've got that tool to actually take advantage of this opportunity and manage the risk, just like those who are professional do, right? They know how to use stop outs and stop losses. Essentially the same thing, different name, okay? And I said this, they are not swayed by huge returns, meaning they understand their system. They understand the process that system says they must follow every time. Like we said, the pre-flight checklist. They never let profit pull them away from the disciplines of using the system, right? We never let that happen. And I'm not going to say that people are perfect at it, right? People do, but the goal is that it would never pull you away, because then you're just chasing that profit again. Now we're not managing risk, and that's where we can get emotional and get into trouble. So they're not swayed by huge returns, and they've learned not to be. Most traders have to go through a process here where these kinds of things are something that they deal with, and then they learn how to manage it, okay? They don't want to go after huge profits that require tremendous amounts of risk in their trading account. What do you do if you lose your trading account, right? If you lose a majority of your trading account because we risked it all on one home run play or one huge risk, right? Then we can't do what we like to say, live to trade another day. We got to win big, lose little. We're guaranteed to lose money in the stock market, right? We're going to get out of trades and we're going to lose some money. We just got to keep those losses small using some of the tools I just mentioned, and then make sure those winners are bigger. That's something we can do, right? We can show you how do we do that so that we don't have to take tremendous amounts of risk and chase profits. We're going to chip away at this over time and help you make this work for you. And that is the next thing. It's about getting ahead over time, okay? Amateurs tend to think more about this trade. It's like this, just the one trade in front of them. I've got to change my whole life with this one trade. I've got to pay all my bills with this trade. I've got to show that I can be successful with this trade. But really, trading is something we do over time, right? We do it over time. We implement a system over time. We get an edge. We get an advantage in the market over time. So we can't just think in single trades and allow that to make us emotional, which in turn usually makes us take more risk. Because if it's about one trade, then I need to do a lot right now with this trade. It's not about me growing over time. It puts a lot of pressure on a single trade, single position, and I'm prone to throwing away the process, chasing that big profit. So that's something we want to avoid too, and we help you understand that over time, this is how you can lessen emotions. This is how you can grow your account, right? This is what we want to do. And it keeps us away from that swinging for the fences, so to speak, on a single position, okay? Also, they use what works. They keep learning and they use what works, right? Trading actually can be very simple, right? Trading can be very simple in a lot of ways. Now, managing ourselves is sometimes the complicated part, but trading can be fairly simple. But we have to find the piece of it that works best for us and keep learning until we do. That is huge. Jeffrey says, howdy. Sorry I'm late. It's all good, Jeffrey. He was on hold. Oh, okay. I got you. Well, that's very kind of you. Jeffrey's just relating his unfortunate customer service event today versus our awesome people here at Tradeway. We do have some great people in our customer support at Tradeway. So thank you for that, Jeffrey. If anybody else out there, just to say it again, has questions on anything I'm talking about, anything about stocks at all, happy to jump in and answer some of those, even if it's not specifically related to what we're talking about today. So please go ahead and light up that comment box. I'd be happy to help you out. So, two biggest differences, okay? We talked about the system, laying that foundation, but there's process and there's profit. My system is going to tell me what's the process. What's the process? And diving in deeper from that, I know that I'm sticking to process. I'm not doing profit. Profit begins to be the result of sticking to the process, right? That is the potential of the system, right? That's the potential of edge. That's what we want to do, okay? And just to take that a layer deeper, number 2, we talked about managing risk. Managing risk. And again, I want to say this, talking to both groups of people, okay? Some of you, we need to know, hey, I got to manage risk. That's the number one thing. Some of you are high risk takers. You're very confident. You just want to go for it, right? And we can swing for the fences more in some ways, taking too much risk to last in our trading because it happens over time. Whereas on the other side, some of us, we don't want to take any risk at all. It's just uncomfortable. Maybe you just haven't learned the skill set yet, so you haven't wanted to take risk. And I completely understand that. That's exactly how I was. We want to learn, right, what to actually do before we take any risk because we're aware that actually it's too much risk to get in not knowing anything. So I would invite you guys to learn the system that we teach. Got a couple of questions here. Is there more than one way to choose a stop loss? Sometimes I think 8% is too much. I'm going to comment on that. Love that question. Is there more than one way to choose a stop loss? Absolutely. There is more than one way to choose a stop loss. And so where does the stop loss go is really what the question is about, right? Where would I put a stop loss? Remember I said you could use one. What does it do? Stops the loss. That's pretty cool. Okay. So how much is okay to lose? Well, that depends on a few things, but basically, what's the most you're willing to lose in the trade? Okay, now in the programs, we're going to go over a few factors. I usually go over two main things. Really, it comes down to two questions that you and I can answer, and that's going to tell us where the stop out goes every time. Okay, specifically to 8%, is 8% too much? 8% is a baseline, right? Very baseline for stock trades, not for options trades, stock trades. And it's somewhat, this is how I liken it, somewhat where, we'll learn some basic things when we're in first grade, second grade, third grade, and so on, right? And then later on, we're going to build on those. For me and for us here at Tradeway, stop losses, that's one of those things. 8% is an introductory. 8% gives us a place to start, okay? Can we make it more sophisticated and specific to you? Yes. That goes back to those two questions. If I answer those two questions, I know where to place the stop out every time. So if you're in one of the programs, go ahead, send me a message on the community page and let me know, Blair, what are those two questions? I don't know if I've heard that. If you've heard it, great. If you haven't, go ahead, message me and I'll make sure to get you that. And we can actually look at some examples. That, of course, is the benefit of being right there in the program. Now I'm going to post here. We've got a 30-day challenge coming up. We've got some folks on here watching by recording. You've never learned our system. You've never learned the system. We're going to give you the system in a 30-day challenge, bite-sized chunks every day with coaching, with teaching, with workbooks. All of it's in there. It's 30 days. It's very inexpensive for you. This is a great way to learn the system, okay? I will be involved. The other coaches will be involved there. That's our Tradeway 30-day challenge. And we have one coming up. So this is an opportunity for you to dive into that, okay? If you open up that link even, it's going to give you more information on everything that we're going to do in there. So that will cover that. And today, that's really what it's all about. How do I switch? How do I switch over, right? I'm not getting any results yet. I'm not getting the results I want yet. I'm not actively even trading yet. If you're in any of those camps and you don't know the system, that's a great place to start. Jeffrey says, I met Blair when I took the 30-day challenge. And you've come, man, when was that, Jeffrey? When did you take that 30-day challenge? I'd be very interested to know that, if you remind me. We've done many of them now. Especially for those of you who are saying, I don't have any background in this, so is this a good place for me to start as a beginner? It's a great place to start as a beginner. And it fits into your schedule. That's why we put it over 30 days, right? We've got days that we take breaks, days to review. It's a great pace. You don't have to put in a huge time commitment every day. And this is really going to give you the foundation so you can make some good decisions in the market and also decide, how much about stock trading do I really want to learn, right? It's very helpful. Jeffrey says January 2020. Okay. So we're a year and a half, just a little over, right? Since you started, Jeffrey. And man, I bet Jeffrey would say, like almost all Tradeway students say, wow, I can't believe how far I've come. Right? You're going to leverage our knowledge, our expertise, so that you can move forward faster with less work. That's the goal. We want to move you from not confident, confident. Don't know the system? I know the system. Don't know what to do? I know what to do. What's my pre-flight checklist? Now I know. Right? Now I know. Huge. Not to mention the mental, emotional, spiritual journey that is such a part of every trader's journey here at Tradeway. Some of you don't believe me, but it's true. It is a transformational process. And God has just so powerfully used that. And, I don't know, pinch me, because I never would have thought that God was going to use something like this in my life. But he so has. And it's such a blessing. Jeffrey says, it's been fun past the 1 year mark. And trading is fun. And what I've shown you today is a way to actually have boundaries to keep the fun in, keep the fear out, and help you move forward. So if you haven't done that, go ahead, click on that link, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're at. Go ahead, join us. 30-day challenge. You can always reach out to us, support@tradeway.com. We're there to help you. Support@tradeway.com. With any questions. If you have any questions in the final moments of our broadcast today, go ahead, pop them into the comments. I'd be happy to answer that as we're about to sign off for the day. Remember, we have Stock Talk Thursday coming up this Thursday. Been down to Tampa twice this past month with hundreds of new Tradeway students coming in to the classes. And that's why we've done a few of the pre-recorded sessions this Thursday. Going to be doing that as well. And then I am with you guys through the remainder of the year. All right. So that's the last time we're going to do that, but it's going to be cool this week. All right. We're going to get to do something neat because of that way that we're doing that. But that is going to be Thursday, 4:30 Central Time. We're back on Stock Talk, your one-stop stock shop. I'm going to give you the hot, the not, and the news for the week. We've got some big news even coming up this week. The market's just shredding is the way I say it. Friday, Monday, Thursday, Friday, Monday. They definitely found some support and have been coming back. So love it. Got some comments. Troy saying, hey, I'm 65 years old, says Troy, and I never stop learning. Wow, that's inspiring. It really is. Sometimes I guess there's parts of my life that I just kind of go, Lord, I need your inspiration because I don't know if I want to grow in this area. But for the most part, my personality, I want to grow. I want to get better at everything. And it inspires me. It just inspires me to meet people who are wanting to grow as well. Mario says, hey, Blair, been away for a while. Good to be back and good to have you back as always. Love the community that we have on here. Great session. I know we got people joining us, Facebook, YouTube, recordings you guys are watching. That's so funny. They're watching, you're watching these recordings. Jeffrey says, is shredding a surfing term? Yeah, I'm going to say yes. Now it's used in some other areas as well. I was, yeah, let's just say yes. Some of those I haven't shed those phrases yet. But yes, it's sometimes I'll say shredding, sometimes I'll say ripping. The market rips higher, it goes higher, moves higher, gets higher, and it has been. It's been moving. It's been moving higher. So pretty strong right now. Got some big news coming up on Wednesday. So just to throw that tidbit out there before Stock Talk, we're going to be watching for the market movement on Wednesday around the Fed report. Okay, there's a Fed report coming out on Wednesday. We had one last week. We got another one this week. That's not normal. So we're going to watch for that, see what happens there. Everybody, it's a pleasure to be on here with you every week to week. Please, if you have any topics that you are really wanting to cover, if you've got questions, if you've got feedback on Market Monday, I want to hear from you guys. You guys, a lot of you guys too, are the loyal viewers, watchers, and I know a lot of you guys that don't necessarily get the opportunity to comment week to week are watching week to week on the recordings. Please support at tradeway.com. Go ahead, send an email to me. It can be very short, very simple. Would be honored if you would do that and let me know what your experience is of Market Monday, Stock Talk Thursday, how it's impacting you, what you are wanting to learn. Whether you're actively trading, just go ahead, send me an email. Let me know. You can always reach me there. The team will send it right on over to me, and I will be able to help even more and make Market Monday the best thing it can possibly be for you. So that said, appreciate you guys taking 40 minutes, spend it with me on a Monday night. Hopefully, this is something that's been a blessing to you. We're going to continue to bring that to you, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much.